Welcome back, golfers. Today we got a great topic for us to discuss today, and that is in our hips and how our hips help counterbalance our golf swing, keep us in balance, and get us into a more powerful position at impact. So stay tuned. So today's topic is the hips, and the hips are one of the most powerful parts of our body because it's connected to our core. And our core is our abs, our glutes, and our hips. And we need to make sure we're using them properly so we're not just swinging with our arms in our golf swing, which I know a lot of the golfers watching this do. So what we need to know is first how to set up our hips at the beginning of the golf swing, and then how to move them. And we're also going to look at what might go wrong in our hip tilt that could cause other issues. Our hip tilt all starts with setup. And what we want to see in our setup is a nice balanced position. So if you grab some alignment sticks or grab something you can stand on that's nice and thin, put your feet right in your arches and then stand straight up. You know, when you're standing straight up and down, you'll feel how you naturally balance your body. And it's the same kind of feeling in your feet that you should have in your golf swing. So if you're standing this way and then you get into your golf position, but you're all toe-sided or on your heels, then you're probably not in your balanced position in your golf swing. And now let's go into our posture. And you can see when I put my body into this position, this is your center of your weight right there. And that goes vertically up and down. So if I'm sitting here, and I draw a line down the middle of me, you can kind of see that I have even weight distribution behind me and in front of me. And that even distribution will allow you to rotate tighter in your feet and through the impact zone so you can keep rounding out your turn. So the first thing we need to figure out how to do is put our hips in the right position. So let's look at the wrong positions really quick. So hit a lot of golfers that suck their hip underneath and then get into a position. This is called a C posture. Or I've also seen less golfers do this, but it still happens where they actually tilt their hips too much down and then arch their back, and that's called an S posture. Both of those can get you in bad positions at the top. You gotta think your spine sits perpendicular to your hip line, and it wants to travel with where your hips are going. So if your hip line is, like we said, tucked underneath and you're in C posture, well, your body, as soon as you put pressure into it, will want to go back to perpendicular to where your hip line is going. So then you end up getting early extension and lift in your body. The other position you might see is if that C posture here, and then you start making your turn in your body and you might end up dipping down into the backswing, which gets you out of your posture position as well, out of your spine tilt. So in order to get to the right position, a super easy way to do it, just grab the club, grab it in this direction, thumb going down, put it behind your head, touch both the back of your head and the bottom at your tailbone together with the club. Now, when we get into this position, we can just tilt from the hips and practice learning to tilt from the hips so we can keep a nice straight spine. Another way we can do this is we can take our club, put it up against our hips, and just bend the knees slightly and then press backwards. Right there. That will also create a nice straight spine because you're pressing your chest back up against that club, and then that will straighten your spine as well. So whenever you're doing that, try to learn to tilt from the hips, not from the back, and not over tilt the hips as well, because we want that spine to be straight at the beginning. Very important. The other aspect we need to understand with setup with our hips is our counterbalance to our body. So like I said, center your weight sitting right there in your arches and it vertically goes up. So the only thing behind your center of balance is your hips, your abdomen, your glutes. And that's an important part of your golf swing, to be able to stay on that side of the golf swing, because that's going to help drive you and turn you around through the impact zone. So So if we're in the wrong position, let's say we have too much weight towards our toe side, well, now you got nothing behind your center of balance, and you're gonna end up locking up those hips, probably coming vertically up and not making very good contact and not very consistent. So what we wanna do is look at the center of your hip bone, which mine is right there. And what we wanna do is press that center of the hip bone backwards, straight back, so that it is sitting center of the hip bone on the back of that heel. So we should be sitting in this position. That gives you enough press back where it's going to get the your core and your glutes and your hips behind your center of balance. The other thing it's going to do is start engaging the glutes and start engaging the core, and you're going to feel that activate, those muscles activate when you get into that position. And that's important because now we can get our big muscles into the swing. So now that we got our proper setup with our hip tilt and proper setup with our hip position pressed back in our setup, let's get into the golf swing. In the golf swing, we need to maintain our spine tilt. And like I said before, our spine tilt is connected to our hip tilt. And if our hip tilt stays, our spine tilt pretty much is gonna stay in our golf swing, especially if we keep our center of our weight in between our toe and our heel side, you know, if we're standing on that alignment stick, which is a great way for you to practice all of this. So hip tilts down, spine tilts straight. And now when we take golf swings, we're gonna try to maintain those positions in the swing so our spine tilt stays the same through that whole motion. And as an instructor, we look at spine tilt a lot to see if a golfer's moving in their body or changing their positions. Because if I'm wanting to hit a golf ball consistently, I can close my eyes. If I keep my spine tilt the same, I'm gonna find that golf ball. It's not a matter of if, it's, you know, I'm gonna find it because I haven't changed anything. I'm just turning around my spine and then through to the target. If you're moving all over with your hip line and your spine tilt, then you're gonna be searching for that golf ball and you're gonna be more inconsistent. So a great practice drill, you could take a chair, you could take your bag, you could put something on your butt line and just try to maintain a touch through each of those positions all the way to finish. And if you maintain a touch on your butt, well, most likely your spine tilt's gonna stay the same unless you're changing posture through level of where your head's at, like you're dipping or rising up. But if you get that down and just start taking some practice swings, butts touching, there, through, still touching, and that'll get you so you're catching that ball consistently, hip tilt will be consistent, and your swing will be more consistent. Check out my at-home swing drills. They're a great place to practice these movements so you don't have to do them in your practice routine at the driving range. You can do them at home and then bring that pattern change that you've made at home to the golf course, and it'll make it easier to practice this as well. So check that video out. Highly recommend it. Golfers, I know talking about the hips isn't the most exciting thing, but for me, this is a topic that's super important to help golfers get their swing where they want to get to. So make sure you pay attention to your hip line, videotape yourself, see what you're doing with your hips. If you're able to do that, you're gonna hit much better shots. Promise you that. And remember, if your feet aren't working, your swing's not working. I'll catch you guys next time.